Hello everyone, welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Scott and I'm joined by Shane up here.
Ahoy hoy.
And Philip up here.
Evening.
If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're a regular, then welcome back. Lovely to see you. Take a seat because today we are going to be talking about Nameless from Image Comics, written by Grant Morrison, penciled by Chris Burnham, coloured by Nathan Fairbairn, and letters by Simon Boland as well. So that is Nameless. I know what you guys think, and I'm trying to put this off as long as I can. So let's see who's in first before I give you all the synopsis. Liam's here. Heidi ho, just made it. Dominic, he's here on time. What the hell? Thank you very much. Happy New Year's to you too as well. Connie's here. Right, let me get this. Every time. Does she only do this when I'm hosting? I swear.
You need to think of your inner Irish, just get it out, get the Belfast out of you.
Irish. Yeah. Okay. Yep. How goes it?
That's pretty good, actually.
Oh, okay.
The O needs to last longer.
Right. Okay. Okay. Next time I'll do it. Amy's here. She's speaking some Welsh. She says, "Blwyddyn newydd dda pawb," which means Happy New Year, everyone. And Dominic is saying the names you have all selected makes me immediately skeptical of this book. For everyone listening on the podcast, Shane has named himself Aimless. Phil has named himself Joyless, and I have named myself Shirtless. Jack is in. Hey, how's everyone doing? Thank you very much for joining, mate. We're doing well. Hope you are too. Martin's here. Thank you for joining. Hope you're doing all right. And the Triple G is here. All right. Thank you for joining. Lovely to see you all. So, today, as I've already said, we are talking about Nameless. And I will give you all a little synopsis if some of you haven't read it. So, I'm just going to read it off the back of the book because I got it here. So, an astronomer kills his family, then himself, leaving a cryptic warning. A veiled lady hunts her victims through human nightmares. An occult hustler, known only as Nameless, is recruited by a consortium of billionaire futurists for a desperate mission. And the malevolent asteroid Xibalba spins closer on a collision course with Earth. But nothing is what it seems. A terrifying inhuman experiment is about to begin. And that's what Nameless is about. Now, you all know that you all know that we have a little WhatsApp group, and it seems that I was the only one that might have enjoyed this book. Glenn's here as well. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. Lovely to see you.
Usually we don't talk about the books on the WhatsApp group.
No, we
like to leave it for the show. Just give it on the show. But I think today, like me and Shane, we had to talk about it because this was something. This is something, and I don't have words to describe.
Right. Yeah, something really good.
This is a comic book that exists.
It shouldn't.
Okay, so let's just stop beating around the bush. Shane, tell us your initial thoughts as well, and Evil's Comics says hey as well. Thank you for joining. Okay, Shane, take it away. Let's hear it.
When I finished reading, my first thought was, what was the point of that? Like, there was nothing. There was no start, middle, or end to this book. There was just something happened, and then something else happened, and then it ended. And there was no conclusion. There was no fulfillment. The character didn't succeed in anything. Like, nothing progressed throughout the entire book. Nothing happened. It was a nothing story. It was really weird. 6 issues. And one of them didn't need to happen. Issue 5, which was just this backtrack that then tried to trick you, and then you jumped into episode 6 or issue 6, and then it went back to the original story. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
So I read this book last night, the first 3 issues last night, the next 3 today, and it's really played in my mind all day. What was the point? Because I don't know what's real anymore. I couldn't tell you what parts of this book were real and not real. Like, it was just very confusing. And also, I have to say, like, the first note I had written on my notepad for the show was page 1, WTF. Like, that, the first page, that's like the precedent for what's going to happen in this book. It was pretty horrific. Should I describe page 1? He hasn't read it.
Maybe not. No, we'll put a trigger warning up just in case. There is a lot of graphic material in this book if you haven't read it, and a lot of language, foul language, and a lot of very dark and odd themes as well. So yeah, consider yourself warned. Yeah, go on, Phil. Be quick about it.
I mean, where do you start? I really don't know what happened in this book.
On page 1?
Oh, do you want me to describe page 1? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, basically, page 1 starts with the death of 2 children, a mother and the father who hung himself. He made his children and wife drink bleach, and to the point where the 3 bodies are lying against the wall with like bleach burn marks around their mouths. And these are young children. I don't know, maybe toddlers, 5, 6 years of age. And then he's hung himself with barbed wire.
Yeah,
this is page 1, folks. Page 1.
It definitely sets a tone, and it's definitely not a book for the faint-hearted. Definitely not, and it is gruesome. But if you can look past that, if that kind of stuff doesn't faze you, then I just thought this was an absolute ride. I really did enjoy it. It was just like fast-paced. It was just. As some bits I found it exciting. There was some really like puzzly bits. I like to think and I like to understand why these things are going on in the book. And I think one thing that really did it for me, and probably the biggest reason for my enjoyment in this book, is the fact that Grant Morrison had used so much real life material to get, to create this story. He was heavily influenced by, was it H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah. He's very much, I watched an interview a few years ago with Morrison. He loves his chaos magic and the occult and H.P. Lovecraft, and I can never say the word Cthulhu, is it?
Cthulhu, yeah. Oh,
yeah, there.
Yeah.
And he loves all that, and that's his thing. And obviously, it's very prevalent in this book throughout. And I'm talking about page 1 there. Like, I was still fine with it. It was gruesome, and I was fine with it. And the first 3 issues were grand in terms of, actually, I was quite enjoying the space stuff with that horror element. It's a sci-fi horror, essentially.
Yeah.
I liked all that. But the dream sequences or the visions or whatever they were, like, I just didn't understand half of what was going on most of the time. And then I started getting confused. Like, what is the real life and what's the visions or the dreams, or what's happening?
Yeah.
And then issue 4, this is the one I messaged the group about today. There was an image there that just shocked me, like really shocked me, to the point I lost motivation to read on. I did read on because I had to, but I wanted to stop.
Was it the last page of issue 3?
No, it was the one where the asteroid's coming down, hit Earth, so all the humans just do what they want. They're killing everybody.
That's the last page of issue 3.
Is it? I thought it was. I thought it was issue 4, but yeah, it was just. It was bad.
Yeah. All right. Beth's in. Hello, thank you for joining. Perpetual Comics is in. Evening, Happy New Year to you too. And so Lee is coming in as well. He goes, I remember it started off quite Inception-y. Issue 3 was pretty much just Prometheus condensed into a single issue, and overall, I think we get a glimpse into Morrison's psyche. I did get Prometheus vibes here and there.
Yeah. My second note was Chris Nolan movie, question mark. It was reminding me of Inception. What was the other one he done, the Chris Nolan movie with in space?
Interstellar.
I was kind of getting that kind of vibes as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I feel like it's trying to be a lot smarter than it is, because it's like, oh, anything that doesn't make sense, oh, that's just a dream sequence. Oh, that's just because he's going a bit crazy. Like when you're reading it, you feel dumb because things seem out of order and out of place, and it's like it's their excuses. It's just going to end up being a dream sequence. But
it kind of gets cleared up. The dream stuff kind of gets cleared up because it was the 5th issue when he was talking with the veiled woman Sophia, and you see the dream machine, the thing that's in the middle, the big lamp looking thing, and then you notice that all of the the oval-shaped panels. You know what I mean? Those kind of odd-shaped panels. They were the same shapes as the shapes in the dream machine. So you can then go back and then you can tell what was a dream and what was real and what wasn't real. And yeah, it was that kind of thing for me. It was just, when you read stuff that's confusing and then later on it gets cleared up and then when everything clicks and it all makes sense, that's something I really enjoy in films and TV and books and everything. And yeah, so when you learn that, it just went up a couple points for me just because of that.
I usually like that as well, but again, in the 5th issue, once like this kind of everything was revealed and they were discussing, like his purpose as such, it still continued on with the space mission, with the other survivor from the moon base, and like so. This is why I'm so confused. Like, did the space mission happen? Was that But then, how did he survive? Because he was I don't know. I don't understand. How did he survive?
I think he died at the end.
Well, she shoots him at the end, but how does she shoot him? Are they in the dream realm? Because he's up on the space station knocking the meteor into the moon. So if he's up there, how was he down there when she comes walking out and watches the moon explode?
Well, he doesn't explode the moon. He just tells the other spaceship driver to.
Yeah, but he's still in space. But she kills
He's
him
on the
on
asteroid.
Earth. Yeah, but she kills him on Earth at the end.
That's the thing too, because even at that, like, they're in that room where he killed everybody, but he had met Dr. What's his name, Darius, whatever, of the corporation.
Yeah.
Obviously killed him with a hammer, really graphically with a hammer.
Yeah.
And so, like, did this happen before? I got lost, and I think that's one of my big issues. That I got very lost in the story.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there time for him to get back to Earth before the asteroid hit the moon?
No.
So it was still quite a fair way away, wasn't it?
He was on the asteroid.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get off. He was on it when it hit the moon.
He was in the tomb or whatever, wasn't he? Getting all this kind of stuff put into him by something.
He was fighting off Sophia on the meteor. She was in the spacesuit. He's fighting her off, but then she's also the veiled lady who shoots him in the head back on Earth. And it's like it wasn't clear. And what is the end game here? You destroy the moon, destroy the planet. Was that the end game? Why knock the meteor off course in the first place if that's what you wanted to do? What is the end game?
Just not kill Earth, isn't it?
But it would. You've destroyed the moon. Like, that's Earth done now.
He didn't think about that, obviously. Then maybe that was a mistake on Grant Morrison's part. Connie has said, I feel like this book would have made a lot more sense as a live action. Like, it just didn't work on paper or something, in my opinion. It was hard to follow. Yeah, I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, obviously it's clear now that there are bits that I didn't understand, and maybe maybe we've all interpreted it a little bit different because, it's all open. It is open to that because it's so mental and there's so many different storylines going on that it is hard to figure out and decide which one is real and what is not.
And yet, with all those storylines going on, no characters get any growth or any time to get flushed out. You don't find out anything about anyone. I mean, the biggest shock moment is when you find out Sophia is Darius's daughter, and it's like, well, no one really cares. Yeah. It's not a big reveal, is it? By the end, you don't even get a name. He doesn't even give you a name. Like, he's not even called like Steve or Trevor Nameless. Or Keith. Like, where's he? Like,
Nameless is a name. Remember? So
Nameless is his name.
I still wanted to know what his name was before.
Can someone clear something up for me then? So, my confusion, I don't know what happened and what didn't happen.
Okay.
So, with the space mission, they had that, what was his name? Commander Sergeant Sterrett or something. He was one of the first ones to die, like outside, whatever.
Yeah.
But then he was in the room that Nameless.
Yeah, that was a flashback, wasn't it?
So that's the main. What one's a flashback? He died in both. Yeah,
did he kill everyone in the room and then the space mission didn't happen, or did he kill everyone on did the space mission happen and everyone died that way? And what he was thinking of was just a dream in that room. What was real?
Maybe it was all a bit real. Who knows? Because there's the whole thing of God and being taken over and controlled, and
it's like the DC continuity. Everything happened.
Maybe
Wouldn't
it's
it have
the
been
two
so
universes, because they talk about universe A and B, and maybe.
Yeah, but Universe E was like from hundreds of thousands of years ago with the big war with all the monsters. This would have made so much more sense had that last issue just been in that room. It was all happening in there. The space stuff was all just in his head. That's what was causing him to kill everyone because he thought they were possessed. You could have cleaned it up at the end, but he just decided to keep it all just murky and messy. He could have cleaned this up, and I would have been quite happy with a solution, with a resolution to the story. He just went crazy, killed everyone. In his mind, he's on this Earth-saving mission, so he thinks he's doing the right thing.
Well,
I would have been like, yeah.
I'm just looking through the book now, and so you've got, this is the last issue, so that's where the asteroid goes into the moon, isn't it? But it's in these panels that are in the shapes of the slots in the dream machine. So, was that a dream? Who knows? So Blue Sonic, he says, when I felt like I got a grip on what was happening, it didn't take long for me to lose it again. It was a very confusing story. And a few people in the comments just saying they're happy they've skipped this book as well. Yeah, I mean, like, I found it confusing as well, but reading it on my own and not speaking about it to anyone, it lets me have my own opinions and my own thoughts on what really happened and what didn't happen, and I think I'm happy with that.
I need somebody to tell me. I'm that confused. I need somebody to explain this to me. I want somebody to write a 3,000-word thesis on this book and send it to me so I can read to understand what happened.
Knowing our luck, it'll be Grant Morrison that sends it.
Yeah.
And this is the thing too. Sorry, go ahead.
Connie is saying that she thought the space mission didn't happen. She read it as like he had just lost the plot after the room and made the whole space thing up. Maybe she needs to reread it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I had thought originally. I was like, right, okay, because was all that a dream? Because how can you be in space and in that room with the veiled lady at the same time? So one of them had to not be real. So I'm gonna go with sorry, just reading Chris' comment. I think I have to go with the fact the space mission was a dream because of that little panel I just shown you there, with the fact that the panel of the asteroid going into the moon was in the dream machine slots.
But with that, the problem I have with that is, if that was a dream, the problem is we see other characters doing things, and you can't do that in someone else's dream. It can't cut away from them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to always be from his perspective.
Yeah, like whenever they're on the shuttle heading towards the asteroid, the moon base is still there, and they're still coming. Like they're getting under attack by the person who's killed. Yeah, see, that's just I don't know.
I just want a little bit of consistency. That's all. I don't have to have much. I really like dream sequences and drug trips and stuff like that in TV and movies and comics. So I really enjoy the weirdness. But it does need to have some consistency, and it does need to be coherent.
Right.
And this just wasn't.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's take a break and just be a bit less confused, and let's look at our pages. Phil, we'll start with you. So show us your page.
I just picked one of the more tamer, is that the right word, tame pages, because there's a lot of madness throughout this book. But I thought this was pretty cool. So at this point, the shuttle had crashed into like a rock or something, and he's obviously fallen under the asteroid. But also you can see the asteroid still spinning, and obviously the momentum. Like, he can't just land on the ground. He's obviously he's like falling a different direction. The asteroid's moving, if you know what I mean. So that's like, I get all the impact and the kind of, you can see like other rocks hitting the rock and stuff like that there, and the way it's drawn with the kind of the heavy lines. Just looks like there's a lot of emotion involved in this. And I was just thinking, if this was a movie, it'd be quite dramatic, I suppose, like his fall from the shuttle onto the asteroid. I was thinking Armageddon at this point. If you remember Armageddon, all crashing into the asteroid. That's kind of what I was thinking a wee bit. Yeah, I just thought it looked really cool, and I wrote this down. I don't know if it makes any sense, but I wrote texture, and I don't know if that, I'm not an artist. I don't know what that means. But I just find like throughout the whole book, they kept there's a lot of lines, a lot of line work to kind of add something, and I just call it texture because I thought it looked quite good, looked quite cool, and it added to the darkness, I suppose, of the book too. But with the art as well, Scott, now you're a fan of Lock and Key. Did you get Lock and Key vibes from the art as well?
Little bits, yeah. Yeah.
The faces were very similar to Lock and
Key.
Key.
The faces, yeah. I did catch on to that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right. Shane, we'll go with you next.
Yeah, so I love Lovecraft stuff is great. I really enjoy his monsters and stuff, and I thought that was quite a good design. And it is one of the more tamer pages. I mean, the vision is the image is clearly meant to be something else, but we won't mention that. But it is a cleaner image in the book. I think you vetoed my other page idea, Scott.
I just don't think he would have done well for YouTube, to be honest.
I really like the colours as well.
Yeah.
Pink.
Very pretty.
Yeah, and his face, like the blue and pink on his face, is great.
That's why I have her blue and pink in the room tonight. Yeah.
Cool, yeah, nice. And then this is my page then. It comes straight after Shane's page. This is when he's really being taken over, isn't he, by that god spirit that was behind him. And it's just, I just love the detail in it. Yeah, it's quite graphic, but
this
again,
bit here.
Pulling the nails out. Yeah, it's a bit, it's still tamer than some of the other splash pages that we've had in the book as well. But I just thought it was quite cool. It reminded me. I didn't know how to take it. I didn't know if it was data or if they were visions. You know what I mean? It was just, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and it's really cool. Just a very busy page and a lot of detail in there.
The image there and there was a full page of it with the Sophia's brain, with the worms coming out of the brain. I was thinking that there's a phobia. Is it what's it called? Is it trypophobia or something, where people have a phobia of
fear of holes.
Fear of holes, yeah. And if you have that, don't read this book, because you see her brain, and it's just all holes and the worms coming out. It's horrible. It's really horrible. It's not nice.
No, yeah, this book really has a vengeance for holes, doesn't it? Really
loves a hole.
Wow, Shane, you said it.
Loves a hole. So those were our 3 pages, but we also did have another page sent in. It is from Connie from I can't quite remember her username, is quite long. Just Connie Dalton, but on Instagram she's sunshine, stars and moons and
sunshine, lollipops and rainbows.
But anyway, here's her page. This is the page that she's chosen. This is the very first page of issue 3, and it's so cool. They're just flying over this asteroid, but then you have that kind of subtle thing of a skull there right in the middle. Is the spaceship supposed to be the nose? Is that?
Yes.
Am I seeing that right? Yeah, it's just very cool. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, Connie, for sending that in. For anyone who does have, if you have read a book that we've chosen and you do want to send something in, then just tag us on Instagram as well with hashtags, nerdherd best page, nerdherd favorite page kind of thing, and and then we'll go ahead. We'll pick 1 or 2, and then we'll showcase it on the show. So yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
About some of the art? It's not the art. It's more why were these things included? Every so often there'd be a background image of frogs.
Yes.
These random frogs, and then in one of the pages, it might be the one you picked, Scott. There's another one. It's actually the one that might get you banned from YouTube, and it's the one with the blue background.
Yeah.
There's clowns and stuff, clown faces in the background.
Yeah. So have you got?
I can't hear the relevance of it. I don't know.
Did you read this in trade or did you read this in single issues?
It was the trade.
So did you see this at the back, the Nightworks stuff?
No.
See, this is what really cleared a lot of stuff up, and I know you might say, well, if they had to do these pages to clear up stuff, then why didn't they just clear it up in the book? But this
I
is
would
like
say that 100%. I would say that.
it was definitely aimed at you. But this has got 5 pages of just so much text and stuff, and telling you where Grant Morrison had drawn stuff from, like what kind of mythologies, what kind of literature he'd read, and what kind of, I know you said he likes his own like magic stuff as well. Where he's got all this information from and how he's like kind of changed it and twisted it. And reading this did clear a lot of stuff up for me. And it does mention the frogs. I don't just want to sit here and read through it again just to find it, but it does mention the frogs. But it does say, I can read it. I can read this to you quickly. What this book was inspired by. Do you want to know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, inspired by Mayan and Pelesian mythology, 21st century nihilist and pessimist philosophy, and the post-Crowley Typhonian schools of magic. And that's it.
That's it. You can just pick one of those, inspired by one of those, and have like 5 or 6 different,
That's why it's a mess. He's just too many cooks. It's just too many things in their pot, isn't it?
It makes your Hulk word smash like really easy, Usually on 2 names are and smash them. He's like 6 ideologies and smash them together. I don't know. Can I just say though, like I mentioned before, the space stuff I actually really like. So in the first issue, it started off with a really weird dream sequence as well, and a lot of kind of stuff.
Get in the trolley.
Yeah, get in the trolley, and it all seemed very incoherent and stuff. I didn't really know what was happening. And then once we got past that, like here's the mission, here's the moon, here's the asteroid coming. This is the missions that we want to do, and it all seemed really sound. Still a bit wacky, but I thought this is the path they were going. And then issue 4 just lost me completely. Again,
it just ramped up.
It just didn't clear anything up. It's like what Blue Sonic said earlier on. Like when you think you've got it, you don't. You lose it again. I lost it again.
I just
couldn't regain it. Yeah.
Yeah, they just totally rip the carpet from underneath you. Yeah, I mean, the story is just insane. But yeah, like you said, it does kind of make sense in the first half, and you can kind of follow it along, and you're like, right, okay, this is what they're doing. They've got to stop the asteroid. There are a few quirky bits, and you go, okay, why is that? What's that? But yeah, as soon as you get to issue 4, you just like, are you questioning the book because you don't understand, or are you questioning it because that's how they want you to be? That's why, that's how it's been written.
I think it's a bit of both, to be fair. I think some of the kind of grotesque stuff as well. I can get the message he's trying to show, what he's trying to mean, but maybe just oversteps the mark. Like, do you want to hit your wee trigger warning? And I'll describe this page. So, trigger warning, anyone watching, this is some pretty dark themes here we're going to discuss. So, there was an image, I'm going to say it, I don't care, of whenever the asteroid's heading towards Earth and humanity are losing their shit. There's an image of a man being pinned down by 2 people and raped by a policeman on top of a police car. Like, what is that there for? Like, I understand he's trying to portray the idea that humanity's it's the cause, it's the cancer, it's going to destroy itself. I get that, but like, just do that by like a random murder. Don't be like,
Then, like, I think, but murders have already happened before the asteroid. So I feel like it's trying. I'm not trying to justify this at all, but I feel like they've gone that bit further over the line just to show how mental humanity can go when they know they're about to die, and they're not going to get arrested, they're not going to get punished for what they do, and they are just going to go for it, just do what they want.
But you can leave some things up to the reader's imagination,
of course.
You don't have to show everything. Like another scene where he's like, his body is cut up and it's just his torso and his head, and he has things being inserted into him in places, and he has certain parts of him chopped off. It's like these images they're there just to shock you. They think they're going to shock you. But the problem is, anyone who picks this book up is going to be an adult. These things aren't going to shock you.
I mean, like, would you think any of that looking at that title?
No.
Looking at the cover?
And even the synopsis, it sounds really good. Like the premise,
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
describing, sounded really good. But what we got was nothing that was promised. I don't think. And I mean, I've read some Grant Morrison, and I thought to myself, like we all read Klaus, and I find myself sometimes not just getting lost in his stories, but it's just sounding really weird, like losing control. Like I'm not in control of my reading, if that makes sense. It's not like a good way where I'm engrossed in the story, but I just lost control of this book, and I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea what I'm reading. Should I go back and read this part? Whatever. I just lost control of the book, and I'm at the point. I've been here before. I am Grant Morrison out. I don't want to read Grant Morrison again for another while.
Yeah,
Like,
because we had
don't be
Klaus.
picking. We've had, and to be fair, the two books for Klaus, book 2 and book 3, were quite wild and wacky too, just not grotesque. They're a bit strange at times, and you accept that. But I think I don't want to pick a Grant Morrison book, so please don't be picking Grant Morrison for at least another year.
No.
I'm
Whole
done.
year, so next season, okay.
Unless it's his Batman and Robin run.
Yeah, but then there's DC stuff. I think Chris mentioned there that he has more strict editing teams and stuff that won't allow those kind of scenes to occur in their books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Based on what we've been saying, Andy says that this sounds like his kind of book, to be fair. He might sit down with a wee bottle of Buckfast and a multi-pack of Space Raiders and read this. So a lot of people have said, I'll pass on this based on what we said, but it's cool that, Andy sounds slightly up for it as well. So, that's good, isn't it? Chris as well, he's saying he thinks it's quite telling that Morrison's best work has come from publishers that have strict editing teams. So DC and Vertigo, Marvel. He thinks that an editor always adds to his work being tempered down. It's
like we discussed with Klaus. Do you remember the one with the pudding on fire and the big forks?
Yeah.
And we were discussing this, like, what's the memo that's handed over from Grant Morrison to Dan Mora? It's the same thing with this. What memo has the artists got for this book? I want you to draw this, and it's going to be the guy with things inside him, things cut off, and whatever else. Just draw it and be as grotesque as you can. Like, what's the memo? And surely, as an artist, you're thinking, what the.
I went to art school.
Yeah.
You want me to draw this?
But is this an artist who enjoys to draw this kind of stuff, or is used to drawing this kind of stuff? Because personally, if I was asked to draw this stuff, and obviously in some of the pages there's quite a lot of detail and they're quite grotesque, I feel like I wouldn't be comfortable drawing this kind of stuff, and I would have to do it really slowly and come back and forth to it. I couldn't do it all in one go, like maybe some other artists do with some normal nice superhero books or whatever. And yeah, so is this artist just as tapped as Grant Morrison, or was it like
just the payday?
Okay, yeah, so this is a chance to work with Grant Morrison. Or
he was on Batman with Grant Morrison.
Okay.
At one point, I'm not sure whereabouts the run was, but I know he was on Batman. I think he's in a lot of indie stuff as well, but I don't know what he's like in terms of, is he that level of madness? I think Grant Morrison's in a league of his own, to be honest.
Just gone.
Yeah, he's up at the very. He's gone. But Chris is confirming there that he does love drawing the weird and violent, and he does it very well.
Cool.
So
nice.
Again, I only know the name because I know he's done Batman stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so we've got some quite big interpretation from Lee. Do we want to get through it? Let's have a look at interpretation. So his interpretation: the space stuff didn't happen. As we see in the last issue, he thinks, Nameless breaks the circle, which results in him getting possessed by an ancient alien being. So space stuff is his battle and ultimate loss against the possession. Hospital/Dr. Part are him coming to terms with what he did, and Sophia with the veil is a realization what's going to happen to him.
Deep.
That is deep, man. He's a clever boy. I mean, but again, maybe he just read everything in the back of there, but again, I'm not trying to justify the fact that it was all cleared up in a lot of text, and it probably shouldn't have been, but it was. Some of that information is really cool to know where it's come from and why it is like it is.
I I'm with
Thank you very
Shane
much,
on this though. Like I feel like if you've got a comic book and you require like a companion piece, to explain things, it's like
You haven't done your job right. Go
yeah,
back
you
and
haven't,
rewrite it.
it's very black and white. You just haven't done your job correctly. If you need something to explain it,
you have both words and images to get your story across. It's not a novel where you just have words. You have images as well to help. And if that doesn't get the job done, then you're not a good writer/artist team. You didn't do your job.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No.
I think because I was obviously, I'm saying with Phil, like the first 3 issues, I was quite enjoying it. I thought we were going to get Alien, but instead of aliens, we were going to get like demons. So that's why he was putting the sigils on them. And then slowly they were going to start getting taken over one by one. And who's been taken over? Did he do a sigil wrong? Like that sort of thing. Like, oh, maybe he's going to let them get possessed.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this like space mystery to happen.
But we kind of saw the result of them not being protected, didn't we? When that first guy, he wiped the symbol off his helmet, didn't he? And then you kind of had that creature rip open space.
Didn't it rip open the drone? I thought it came
because if you look at it, you see his claws grabbing the rip.
That's what I thought. But then I was like, oh, it's the drone. Because that was weird.
Yeah. So it kind of ripped itself from.
But then some people did have protection still, and it still got them. So what was the point of all that?
This is just adding to my confusion. This is not clearing anything up. I have no idea what's happening. What I will say though, I quite liked the idea that, if you want to go into the kind of spiritual, kind of mythological kind of stuff, like I like the idea that, whatever many thousands or millions of years ago, they had this kind of war. What was the Outsiders and somebody? Can't remember who the other combatant was.
The angels and demons, wasn't it?
Yeah, but so I like the idea that one was left behind in this cell, and it's the cause of like why humans do the things they do, and that thing being God. I quite like that. I think someone mentioned in the comments earlier on, like Event Horizon, the movie, and I was getting 5s from it too. Again, a bit more wacky, but definitely getting Event Horizon 5s. That is about God and stuff as well, and I liked all that. But I just think at some point, and I don't know where, I get lost. That's it. I got completely lost, and some stuff was just a bit too mental for me.
Yeah, I'm not a prude, and I'm not against violence, but this book makes me forgive a big chunk of Saga. I would go back and I will read all the issues of Saga rather than read this again.
Right. Highland G is saying he loves Grant Morrison, but even as a fan, he avoids the stuff where he goes full Grant Morrison. He enjoyed Invisibles with no extra reading needed there for him, but he has heard others who don't understand it either. And Lee's trying to clear up the sigils, I think. The sigils were a visual representation for Nameless, praying to whoever and whatever may be out there to help him fight the possession. Man, I think Liam understood this book more than us, to be honest. And,
he's gone full Morrison.
Yeah,
Liam's gone full Morrison.
Full Grant Morrison. Yeah. I really don't know what else to say. This is a book. When I finished it, I enjoyed it, and I was a bit lost for words, but it made me think, and that's what I enjoy about a book and a story. Like, even though it made me think, what the hell? What is going on? What did I just read? But again, there were parts where I was enjoying it. I was excited. The thing about a horror book, you can't have jump scares. You know what I mean? So I think the best way for a horror book to go is to make people uncomfortable and confused, and it definitely did that. We definitely had quite a few pages, we felt uncomfortable from page 1, and then it was just weird, confusing stuff throughout the book. And like, for a horror perspective, I know I've not read many, but I think it hasn't done badly in that perspective.
Strangely, there were parts of the book I did enjoy. Some of the horror stuff, whenever I understood
Got another one. Peter's also said he
we
might give this book a go.
We haven't done our job, Shane. But the thing is, like, Grant Morrison, his imagination in general is quite out there. Even if he is tame, so some of the things he comes off with, like, you know, I can't even remember what I've written down here. But some of the like the language throughout, he was just rambling. It was just like ramble, and I have no idea what he was saying. He was just making up words and making up different. He done it with Klaus as well by referring to different armies and whatever else. He just kind of says things that I was like, why is that even there? Like, why are you putting this in? I have no idea. And like, what was it like? Is this a thing? Elementary tractor physics. Because that's what we referred to a couple of times. That's something that they use. What's tractor physics?
Like tractor beams. Like
Okay.
to drag the asteroid away. That's what I thought it was.
So you got a better interpretation than me, but I had no idea. And it's just like, I don't know. I kind of this chat hasn't cleared things up for me, to be honest.
No.
Not one bit. I even had something to say in my head there, but completely forget what it is. Yes, I have it now. So tarot, Tarot cards.
Yeah, tarot cards. Yeah.
I've never done that. I don't know what they are, but they were showing some cards. Like, are they a thing where you have like pig Nazis receiving
No.
oral sex with chained up naked? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
is that a thing?
So no, right. So the words they use on the tarot cards are things, but the images were completely made up for this story.
Okay.
I think it's just like, you know, like how you get a deck of cards and you can get different card backs. You know, it's that kind of thing. You just like the word is there, but the picture is just whatever it is, right? So, but again, I'm going to go back to that back section. It's all explained there, what each card means and why they've drawn those particular pictures on them. A lot of it was like nihilistic, philosophical, magical, that kind of stuff. Yeah, like I understood the reasons for the words of the tarot cards, but the drawings on them, I was like, what is this? This is not a tarot card.
Yeah, like,
You know?
We've discussed before. I think it was what was the DC book we read recently? Battle of Kyle, where we're talking about having to have previous reading or additional reading to it. It's similar to this one. You need to go and read some proper books about different mythos.
You need to go and get a tarot reading. Before
to understand this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it.
So Chris is also saying he read Gideon Falls yesterday, and for a horror/supernatural/sci-fi thriller, it beats the living crap out of this book. It was scary and intriguing and shocking in ways this book never does. It's on my list, and you probably, with that comment, you probably bumped it up a few spaces at my list now. So
yeah, and don't release your review video before I do mine.
Maybe Chris can suggest it for the Heard's choice.
Heard's choice, mate. Yeah, of course. Shane, you've been a bit quiet. Is there anything you want to add?
I'm just it was just an interesting idea, poorly executed for me. It just left me bored, and it's a shame because it started out, but it's probably my fault because it started out and I expected something good, so it's my fault. You know, I should have gone. I shouldn't expect good things from my comic books anymore. If I just go in flatline and just read it, and then I won't be disappointed at the end.
I mean, is this just Klaus all over again? Like, are we all, as a group here now, just Grant Morrison out?
I mean, no, Klaus hurt my feelings. This just, I'm indifferent to this book. I won't read anymore if it ever comes back.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would read more Klaus.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, it didn't get a second volume. I don't think it ever will. I can't see there's a huge demand for this. And one of the things I always kind of think about when reading books for the Nerd Herd is like, would you recommend this book? And I'd be like, well, if you're into that kind of level of sickness, that level of madness, fill your boots.
Yeah,
but like, you're not going to recommend this to most people. Like, no. It's a small niche market, really.
There is a comic for absolutely everyone. It doesn't have to be superheroes and all this. So but it shows that you two didn't quite enjoy this as much as I did, and there's been quite a few people in the chat saying they don't want to read it, but then Andy and Pete have said that they might give it a go. So it does have some appeal in it, and I'm glad I've bought it. I'm glad I do have the physical copy of it. It like
easier to burn, isn't it?
Do you think Shane Scott has to be kind of like, why like this book because he owns it? I spent the money on this and I have to like it. You know,
I own Doctor Strange Origins. All right, I'm not happy about that.
And you've still got it. You've kept that.
Yeah, I've still got it. I've kept it. Why not? But I am I enjoyed this more than Doctor Strange. I enjoyed this more than a lot of books that we've read over the Nerdhood. And
to be fair, I enjoyed it more than Doctor Strange too. But it's a low bar you're setting there, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, indifferent may be the collective word for this whole group. Everyone watching here as well may be the word to use for this story.
It's a shame. It had potential.
I just love the cover. Literally, that's what drew me to it. I was like, the cover, that looks sick. I love sci-fi. I love space stuff. I was like, I'm in. And then I read the back and I was like, okay, cool. And I saw horror down the bottom and I was like, okay, cool. And then I read it. I'm all right with it.
To be fair, the cover looks great. The premise sounds good. I'd be with you. I would want to read this book. And I think someone mentioned in the comments there, the first few issues promised a really good story, then it kind of fell apart. And it had potential. It just went a bit too much.
Yeah.
And it did lose. And that's the thing. Obviously, you're into it, and Andy and Pete want to get into it. But it's 50-50. You're going to either go with it and enjoy it or just completely fall off. I think that's what's happened here.
Originally, this wasn't going to be called Nameless. Just going into fun facts now. This was actually supposed to be called Xibalba after the asteroid that was coming to Earth, wasn't it? But I can't imagine. I
Many
think the
people know how to spell it to search for it.
Yes,
and I don't even know how to say it. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, if it starts with an X, it's pronounced like a Z, isn't it?
Okay.
It'll either be Xibalba or Xibalba, whichever. But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else to say, do you want to go on to thoughts and scores?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys, you know the score. If you've read the book, then do give us your score, and we'll add that onto our score as well. We do have one from Connie already because she went a little bit earlier, so I've added that on. But Shane, would you like to kick us off, please?
So usually you guys change my scores, my mind changes throughout, but I'm keeping my score for this, I'm afraid. I didn't enjoy it. I finished reading it and I was like, well, there's what do you say when you read a book like this, when you finish? What is the first thing that comes into your head? You're like, what? Why and how? It makes... So this was pitched to them and then they had to send pages off to get approved and stuff, and someone was just like, yep, that's fine, No, how does that even happen? It could have been good because the premise is really good. The idea is there. It was just really poorly executed. The art is okay for me. I'm not a massive fan of this style.
You're quite
Some of the
picky with your
pages
faces.
were gorgeous. Yeah, there was one page with the main character. It's just a front face on of him, and he's got his shirt is open. It was a really nice picture. But for the most part, the faces are not great. And when they get to the asteroid, I feel like there was a little bit of miscommunication between the artist and the writer, because everyone's like, ooh, wow, look at this. It's an alien civilization. And then you see the page and it's just an empty cavern. There was nothing in there. But overall, I really didn't enjoy this. I finished it and I was glad that I finished it. I did not want to read anymore. If I wasn't reading it for this, I would have stopped probably at issue 4. So for me, this is the lowest I could possibly give it, and that's a 2.
Well, all right. That's not as low as I expected you to go. I was hoping maybe
the
a
art
4 or a 5.
The art saved it.
Wow.
You thought I was going? You thought I was going a 5?
Oh, bless. Bless his cotton socks.
Just being hopeful, Okay, Phil.
The same as Shane said. It started off really well. The first 2 or 3 issues, even though there's some bits you can kind of, see past, whatever. And you're expecting a good story, and then it lost me completely. I couldn't get into it, and that issue 4, I was going to read on anyway. I don't like not completing the book, but I could have easily stopped then and not never looked back at it after issue 4. But strange, I did enjoy parts of it to the point where I am going to score it higher than Shane, but it's limited, like really limited. Like I can't go any more. Art I thought was really good. I enjoyed it throughout. Again, I got vibes of Lock and Key style art with the faces, which I quite enjoyed. I like the darkness of the book. That's where he's floating through space. We can see the background, kind of the ships or the rocks, whatever. It was all quite cool. And then obviously the grotesque stuff. Even though it's grotesque, there's a scene where they're falling on the asteroid and like a face splits in half and the brains are popping out, and it's not nice to look at, but it's you can appreciate it. I think it's done well, and I like all that. I said before, I'm Grant Morrison died. I don't want to read Grant Morrison anymore for a while. I've had my fill of Grant Morrison midway throughout this book, to be honest. God, it should have been better than it was. I think it really should have been better. I'm going to give it a 4 because I did enjoy it more than Doctor Strange Origins. But I said in our group chat too, I was going to give it an okay score after the first 3 issues. I was sitting on a 6, and around 6.5, and after issue 4 and 5, I was like, nope, sorry, it's a 4.
Okay.
That's the line there. So I should say, Chris from my shells has said, whenever they're coming down splitting off the ground, it's hallelujah, it's raining men.
Yeah.
I had the song in my head and stuff reading that. It was fun.
Okay, so we've only had just had another score in as well. From Blue Sonic. Okay, so we had a 5 from Connie earlier on. And Blue Sonic Martin has just sent us this. I was looking forward to reading this and I was prepared to be confused, but I came out the other side more confused and lost than expected. It had promise but didn't deliver. It's a 4 from me. And then Liam has also joined in. I enjoyed it. 6 out of 10. Nice and simple. So, what have I got to say? I enjoyed it more than you guys. I am going to score it more than you guys. This was my first... I want to say this was really my first Grant Morrison book. We've had Klaus, but I feel like that was watered down Grant Morrison. And people have been saying this is full Grant Morrison. And I'm glad I have finally read a full Grant Morrison. I don't think I'll make a regular occurrence of it. But... This book was just, a cryptic barrel of mentalness. And I feel like it's, maybe got a slight thing of a Christopher Nolan movie sometimes where you may have to go and watch it again. So now that I know all this stuff, now that I've learned what happens if I read it again, maybe I'll enjoy it more. Maybe I'll get more out of it. And like Phil said earlier, the art is all right. I do enjoy the art of Lock and Key, so it's that didn't bother me, but there were some pages that made me feel uncomfortable. But then again, what does a horror comic do if it can't make you scare, jump or scream or something? So yeah, I enjoyed it. I was confused, but I think I was supposed to be confused. So I think for me, I'm going to match with Liam. I'm going to go for a 6 as well. That's going to be my score. And we've got one more score as well from Chris. He says it's a 5 for me. That is just for Burnham and not for any text at all. Okay.
Not even the title of the book. No text.
Yeah. That text sucked.
Sure, even the title wasn't meant to be the title. They couldn't even settle on the title.
I know, Xibalba.
They changed their mind.
Yeah. Right, okay, so we've got the scores. So we've had a 4, 2 5s and a 6 from the audience, and that gives you a bang on average of 5 out of 10. And then we add that onto Shane's 2, Phil's 4, and my 6. This gives us an average of 4 out of 10 altogether. So let's go ahead and see if that comes up on our top 10. Oh, what a surprise it doesn't. Top 10, our last place top 10 at the moment is Klaus, The Life and Times of Santa Claus. So that does mean it goes onto our extra leaderboard, and it is now our worst rated book.
Unlucky 13.
I was going to say 13, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just coming underneath, bite-sized by a full point. But there we go.
I think that's its rightful place.
But I'm disappointed in the story. I think I wish it had been better for me. I'm glad that Scott, obviously, he picked it and he owns it. So I'm glad he's happy with that. But I wish I had have enjoyed it more. It's just I went too far.
Had that last issue just cleared everything up and made it a little more coherent and a little more clear, I would have scored it higher. But because it just left you with what the heck has gone on in these 6 issues, just wasn't clear enough. And I don't want to have to read half a dozen pages of his autobiography to find out what the story was about.
And the fact that we've been discussing this for an hour, we still don't understand what happened, the mission or the room. Like, we don't know. It's just
we've all interpreted it differently.
Yeah, I think room. That is my opinion.
Like, the mission didn't happen.
Yeah, I think the mission
that's what I think too. But I prefer if it was the mission. You know.
I would have liked it if it was just the room, but then they stopped with the space stuff, but then they went back to it. So it's like, well, why? If you're saying the room's real, why go back to the space stuff? You should have stopped it there.
Yeah.
It's just so confusing, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
But just let you guys know, there is an affiliate link down below. So if you fancy this book, click on the link and buy the book and give it a good read.
That's so mean, Phil. I would never do that to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we'll end it there. Like Chris has said now, let's not start this debate again, lads. Let's just stop it there. It's got its score. It's done. We've read Nameless. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Shane, do you have anything coming up on your channel? Any quiz-related things?
No, but the quiz is still live. The viewer competition is still live for a week. So if you watched Dawn of Comics Quiz Night, the latest one, what was that, 14? 15?
14, yeah.
14. There's a viewer competition that's still live until next Friday. So you can watch it and enter the competition for a prize. Extra prize this time as well.
Nice. Phil, do you want to lie to us again?
Promise us something, Phil. Promise us something.
It's 2022. New year, new me. Can you believe it?
Jesus.
I have 4 videos recorded. I've taken advice from my good friend Chris. I've recorded all 4 videos in one night. I'm going to edit them.
Did you change
your
shirt?
Oh, yeah.
I changed my shirt and my jumpers, yes. I'm going to edit them at some point. They'll come out some point, one a week for the next few weeks. I'll get to it. It's recorded. We're halfway there. So don't worry.
Awesome. For me, I've got nothing immediate coming up, but we are working on some little bits for Comic Airwaves coming back at the end of this month, and I have been valuing some more comics for the auctions as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that coming out soon. But that is it from us, so I will go ahead and show you what we've got coming up next week. So here it is, take a look. There we go. Philip's pick.
If ever we needed a palate cleanser, this is it. This is the perfect palate cleanser. I'm so excited for this. So much fun. Can't wait.
Really looking forward to it. I mean, your hype is making me look forward to this.
Oh, I'll be quiet. I don't want to set the bar too high.
Those listening on the podcast, can you tell them what it is?
Yes. So we are going to be reading Cosmic Ghost Rider from Marvel Comics. Donny Cates.
Donny
writer.
Cates.
Yeah, Donny Cates has written it. So do join us next week for that. And we can't wait. It's now public on our channel, so you can go ahead and set the reminder if you want to catch us on the live show. So that is it from us. So just the last thing to do now is to go ahead and get that little See you, everyone.
Bye.
Lovely to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.